Hi everyone, my name's Edward Mariyani-Squire. I'm the unit coordinator and your main lecturer for this particular unit, Seminal Papers in Business. I'm from the School of Business and my particular discipline is economics. For this unit, what we'll be doing is focusing primarily, I think, on critical thinking, or what I would like to say is critical analysis. So we're going to try and develop, not in a schoolish way, but rather in an immersive fashion, how to critically examine and analyse academic texts or academic work within the field of business in particular. And the way we will do that is that we will each week look at a particular seminal paper or seminal piece of work from some discipline within the field of business. So that could be economics, marketing, management, accounting, and so on. What we will do in practical terms is that for the time being anyway, we're going to be doing things by Zoom, unfortunately, until we have permission to go back to face-to-face classes. And so each week there'll be an assigned piece of work for you to read ahead of the class, and then we'll come along to the class and either me or a guest presenter will talk about that piece of work. So they'll explain how the arguments function, and maybe they'll say something critical about it, and also they'll talk about why they regard this as an important piece of work. When we say seminal here, we mean it's a piece of work which is sufficiently important that it has in some way shaped or influenced a discipline and maybe fields outside a particular discipline as well. So for the next couple of weeks, the next 2 weeks, we'll do a little bit of a crash course on critical analysis and critical thinking, and then we'll move into the main part of the unit, which is looking at the articles. So first up, we're going to have a look at an article by the economist von Hayek, and our guest speaker will be Heath Spong, and then we'll look at an article by Alderson and Cox, which is from the field of marketing, and our guest presenter or speaker will be Fran Garland. She's from the discipline of marketing. Then we'll look at a chapter from a book, a famous book by John Kenneth Galbraith, and I'll talk about that. After that, we'll look at an article, say a famous article by the economist Milton Friedman, which is really about science and scientific methodology, and I'll present about that. Then we will move on to a finance article by the famous finance theorist Eugene Farmer, and Walid Bakri will talk about this particular article. Then we'll have a 2-week break. In that 2-week break, you'll have the opportunity to work on 2 of the, or at least 1 of the assignments that, or accessible tasks that you'll have for this unit. So I'll just quickly talk about that. There's 3 accessible tasks in total for this unit. 1 is an essay, 1 is a critique, and another is a presentation. Look in your learning guide for some more detail about what that will be. In the first session that we'll have, we'll work out the dates for when things are due. But I've set aside a 2-week break in which you'll have an opportunity to work on the essay and the critique. After the break, we'll come back to our sessions and we'll look at a paper by Clive Granger, and this is an important paper about causality, which has been important in empirical work, and I'll present on that. Then we'll look at an article about econometrics and statistical testing by a gentleman named Ed Lima, and Maria Estela Verua will come and talk to you about that particular article. Then we'll look at an article by Hines, which is roughly in the field of accounting, but really it's a philosophical piece of work. And Peter Humphreys from accounting will come and elaborate on that or talk around that article. Then we will have an article which is about sport, and really sport sociology in a way, that's by Guglielmotti, or something along those lines, and Jess Richards from the discipline of sports management will come and talk about that particular article. Then we've got an article by Koken, which is about management or industrial relations, by Louise Ingersoll. She's from the discipline of human resource management and industrial relations. And lucky last, we'll look at an article by the German philosopher Hegel, and Margaret Musa from economics will come and talk about this particular piece of work, which is a deeply philosophical piece of work. Anyway, so that's basically the structure of the unit. We'll have more to say about times and dates and so on in the first session, but that's basically the overview. Read over the learning guide and make yourself familiar with that, and I'll see you in the first class.